Okay, buckle up because we're about to dive into the most epic game of hide-and-seek you've ever seen, except with way cooler outfits and a side of existential dread. The year is 2045, Earth's a dumpster fire, and everyone's escaped to the Oasis, a virtual reality world where you can be whoever, or whatever weird hybrid, you want. Think Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, but with laser beams and a whole lot more neon. This whole thing was cooked up by two genius billionaires, James Halliday and Ogden Morrow, who basically became gods after creating the Oasis. But then James kicked the bucket and left a cryptic message hidden somewhere in the game. Whoever finds his golden Easter egg, because apparently this dude was obsessed with breakfast, gets to inherit the entire Oasis, a multi-billion-dollar company basically built on pixels and people's deepest desires. Enter Nolan Sorrento, the villain with a face so punchable it should be an Olympic sport. This guy runs IOI, a video game company so evil it makes Monopoly look like a game of sharing cookies. Nolan wants the Oasis for himself, probably to turn it into a giant advertisement for bad haircuts and dubious energy drinks. So, he sends out an army of virtual sweatshop workers called Sixers to do his dirty work. Basically the world's first ever click farm recruited from his mom's basement. For 5 years, these digital Indiana Joneses have been searching for the egg, but nobody's even found the first key. That's where our hero, Wade Watt, aka Parzival in the Oasis, comes in. This 20-year-old lives in a trailer park that makes a cardboard box look luxurious. But hey, at least he's got the Oasis, where he can pretend to be a knight in shining armor instead of, well, a dude living in a glorified sardine can. Wade hangs out with his online crew, Aesh, the muscle-bound mechanic with a monster truck fetish, Daito the samurai with questionable fashion sense, and Sho, the quiet but deadly fighter. These guys are the ultimate friendship goals, except for the whole never-met-in-real-life thing. One sunny day in the Oasis, they decide to tackle the first challenge, a crazy car race where the stakes are higher than Snoop Dogg on a Friday night. Now, most players show up in tricked-out virtual Lamborghinis, but not Wade. This dude rolls up in a DeLorean, because who needs speed when you've got time travel in a pinch, although it probably wouldn't help him win this race. Just as the race starts, a new player catches Wade's eye, Artemis, a fierce chick on a motorbike who looks like she could outpunch a grizzly bear. Wade's heart does a little happy dance, but the race isn't exactly a pickup zone. Suddenly, a giant gorilla shows up and starts throwing a tantrum, destroying the racetrack like a toddler with a new set of crayons. Most of the players, including Aesh and his beloved monster truck, get wiped out. Thinking fast, Wade does the unthinkable. He grabs Artemis midair and saves her from becoming gorilla kibble. Now, that's how you make a good first impression. They manage to escape the chaos, and Wade convinces Eek to fix Artemis's bike, because chivalry is not dead, even in the Oasis. As they chat, Artemis reveals she's as determined as Wade to stop IOI from taking over the Oasis. Seems like they have more in common than just killer gaming skills. Wade, ever the curious soul, dives into James Halliday's digital diary, basically a virtual scrapbook overflowing with the guy's memories. There's a creepy librarian dude named Curator, who helps him navigate this mess. Wade stumbles upon a clip of James and his partner Ogden having a heart-to-heart about their creation. James whines about hating rules and wishing they could be, like, totally flipped. Lightbulb moment for Wade. He jumps back into the race, determined to be the world's worst driver. Everyone zooms forward, while Wade goes full-on reverse gear. Turns out there's a secret underground tunnel hidden beneath the racetrack, perfect for skipping all the obstacles and arriving at the finish line like a champ. Well, a slightly confused champ. He waltzes into Central Park, meets the creepy avatar of James Halliday, and scores a shiny copper key, a pile of virtual coins, and a cryptic clue. Boom. His name rockets to the top of the leaderboard, making him the most popular nobody in the Oasis. Meanwhile, back at Evil Villain HQ, aka IOI headquarters, the board members throw Nolan some serious shade for letting this Wade character win the first challenge. After some dramatic villainous pondering, Nolan dives into the Oasis and hires a virtual hitman named iRock to take Wade out permanently. Wade, feeling flush with his newfound virtual riches, goes on a shopping spree. He snags a magic cube that can rewind time, because why not? A grenade, safety first, people. And the ultimate prize, a full-body X1 suit. He spills the beans about the secret tunnel to his online crew, and suddenly Artemis, Aek, Daito, and Sho are all winners too. Now, The gang's gotta crack the next clue. Wade and Artemis head back to James's digital diary, hoping to find some juicy gossip. They score a recording of James and Ogden having a chat, and discover James once dated a woman named Kira. Apparently, this is the first time Kira's ever been mentioned in the whole diary. The curator, ever the skeptic, throws down a virtual coin bet, scoffing at the idea. He searches the entire diary like a digital bloodhound, but comes up empty-handed. Winner, winner, Wade's dinner. He scores a virtual coin for his detective skills. Turns out James once took Kira to a nightclub called the Distracted Globe. Wade and Artemis head there, hoping to sniff out some clues. Artemis leads him onto a zero-gravity dance floor, where they bust a move to some funky disco tunes. Thanks to his fancy new X1 suit, Wade can actually feel Artemis through the simulation. Think of it as the ultimate virtual hug. Things get a little flirty, and Wade spills his heart out, confessing his undying love, and begging to meet in real life. Artemis, ever the pragmatist, shuts him down faster than a server crash, worried he might be a total dud in the real world. But love makes you do crazy things, so Wade even reveals his real name. Little do they know, creepy hitman IROC has been eavesdropping on their whole love confession. Moments later, IOI goons burst into the club, ready to turn Wade into a pixelated puddle. Luckily, he still has that time-rewinding cube, so he zaps them back 60 seconds and makes a quick getaway with Artemis. Looks like things are about to get real. Virtually real, that is. So Wade and Artemis escape the evil IOI goons by rewinding time with his magic cube. They find a safe spot to chat, and Artemis drops a bomb. Her dad died in debt to the bad guys. She can't get distracted by lovey-dovey stuff. She needs to win this contest and stop IOI before they turn everyone into indentured servants. Think working in your pajamas, but way less comfy. Meanwhile, the creepy hitman IROC spills the beans about Wade's real identity to the villain, Nolan Sorrento. Nolan, ever the charmer, contacts Wade the next day and offers him a boatload of cash, like $25 million, to join the dark side and help IOI find the egg. Wade, surprisingly, tells him to shove it. Big mistake. Nolan reveals he knows where Wade lives and threatens to blow it up, because apparently this is a virtual reality game with very real consequences. Wade rushes home to warn his aunt and her boyfriend, but too late. IOI turns their trailer park into a demolition derby, and Wade's family gets caught in the crossfire. Devastated, Wade tries to call his online crew, but some random dude with face tattoos knocks him out and kidnaps him. When Wade wakes up, guess who's there? Artemis, in real life. Turns out her real name is Samantha, and she's the leader of a group of rebels fighting against IOI. She takes him to their hideout and shows him the real-life IOI headquarters. Think Google's office building, but way less productive. Samantha's a little self-conscious about a birthmark on her face, but Wade assures her it's totally charming. Just as they're about to smooch, Samantha has a light bulb moment about the next clue. She figures out that the leap not taken means James regretted not asking out this chick named Kira. The gang, all 5 of them now, head back into the Oasis and dive into James Halliday's digital diary. They grill the creepy librarian dude, curator, about the movies James might have taken Kira on. After sifting through a mountain of cheesy rom-coms, they find a horror flick called The Shining. Curator sends them to a recreation of the movie in the Oasis, which is basically a giant haunted hotel. Eck, who hasn't seen The Shining? Because who watches horror movies when you can be a virtual knight? Gets lured away by creepy ghost twins. Luckily, his friends find him before he gets possessed by a demon toaster. They eventually reach a ballroom filled with zombies and a hologram of Kira dancing in the middle. Remembering the clue, Artemis takes a running leap over a bottomless pit, because apparently, that's how you solve puzzles in this game. While the rest of the crew gets dragged out of the hotel by, well, let's just say the plumbing wasn't up to code. Artemis avoids the zombies, chats up Kira, the leap James never took, and scores a fancy green key from a glowing avatar of James Halliday. The rest of the gang follows suit, and they all have shiny new keys, one step closer to winning the contest, and maybe even getting revenge on IOI for turning Wade's life into a pixelated nightmare. The news of the gang completing the second challenge pops up on IOI's shiny villain scoreboard, ruining Nolan Sorrento's entire morning. Turns out, blowing up trailers isn't the same as actually killing a virtual reality whiz kid. Enraged, Nolan calls in reinforcements, a pro assassin named Finale, who looks like she'd make the Grim Reaper reconsider his career choices. Finale, bless her cold assassin heart, immediately tracks down the dude with the face tattoo who kidnapped Wade earlier. Accompanied by an army of IOI goons, think cubicle workers gone wild, she raids Samantha's rebel hideout. In a desperate move, Samantha shoves Wade into a secret passage like a panicking squirrel hiding acorns. She tells him to run and not look back. But of course, our hero isn't winning any awards for self-preservation. He turns back for one last glance, just in time to see Samantha getting nabbed by Finale and dragged off to pay off her dad's debt by answering angry customer service calls for eternity. On the run, Wade bumps into a woman named Helen, who reveals she's actually Aish, his burly best friend from the Oasis. She leads him to her totally inconspicuous van, where he meets Dido and Sho, who turn out to be a middle-aged dude named Toshiro and a surprisingly skilled 11-year-old. They decide a full-on rescue mission is in order, because nobody messes with their virtual gaming crew. Meanwhile, back at IOI's evil headquarters, Samantha is held in one of the chambers, forced to work for the company. To make matters worse, IOI has hacked the third challenge, set in a spooky castle on Planet Doom. Players have to guess James Halliday's old-school favorite Atari game, but evil CEO Nolan's got a few tricks up his sleeve. He orders I-Rock, the virtual hitman, to activate an impenetrable force field around the castle, because nobody said this contest was fair, and tells his brainwashed laborers, including Samantha, to plant a bunch of explosives for good measure. But before he can cause any more chaos, Wade and his crew hack Nolan's virtual feed and confront him in his swanky office. Nolan, being the gracious villain that he is, reveals Samantha's location just to be a jerk. Luckily, this helps the crew bust her out of her digital prison. Samantha, now aware of IOI's evil plan, stays behind disguised as an IOI worker, promising to deactivate the force field so Wade and the others can storm the castle. In an epic power move, Wade broadcasts a live message across the Oasis, exposing Nolan's evil plans and rallying the players. Think a virtual flash mob, but with more lasers. Thousands of players show up ready for a showdown. Meanwhile, inside the castle, Artemis manages to magically deactivate the force field. Details are fuzzy, this is a video game after all. Wade and his crew lead a charge, and boom, it's an all-out virtual war. Nolan, seeing his digital empire crumble, decides to join the fun by donning an armored Mecha Godzilla suit and starts stomping on players, because this went from insane to completely bonkers real fast. In true video game fashion, Ike transforms himself into the Iron Giant, Dato becomes a Gundam, and they have a massive smackdown with the Godzilla wannabe. Artemis, sneaky as ever, lobs a grenade into the Mecha Godzilla's system, blowing the whole thing up in a magnificent explosion. Nolan, seeing Artemis in the Oasis, realizes Samantha's still loose in his facility and takes off in a villainous rage. Wade, ever the protective boyfriend, deliberately gets himself killed in the game so Artemis can escape the exploding facility and reunite with the crew. Romance, am I right? So, Wade and Sho sneak into the spooky castle on Planet Doom, just in time to witness a sweaty nerd named DeSixer, failing miserably at a super old-school video game called Adventure. Turns out this isn't your average button-mashing brawl. You gotta play smart and explore. Lightbulb moment for Wade. Before he can channel his inner Indiana Jones, Nolan shows up in a full-on Mechagodzilla costume. Seriously, this guy needs a new hobby. He tries to bribe Wade with a lifetime supply of pizza and virtual socks, because apparently that's what villains think heroes crave. When Wade tells him to shove it, Nolan throws a tantrum and blows up the entire game. Avatars, pixels, the whole shebang. Back in the real world, Nolan thinks he's won, but hold your horses. Wade, ever the clever cookie, used an extra life he won from a creepy virtual librarian to stay in the game. Now, the whole Oasis is watching him play Adventure, like some twisted reality show. The goal? Just keep playing until you find the hidden Easter egg. Easy, right? Wrong. This game is older than dirt and about as intuitive as a Rubik's Cube with missing pieces. After hours of pixelated frustration, Wade finally stumbles upon the egg. Cue dramatic music, explosions, and a glowing avatar of James Halliday congratulating him. But wait, there's more. Anorak offers Wade a contract, promising him the Oasis and a lifetime supply of virtual reality headsets. Seriously, is that all these guys think about? Just as Wade's about to sign on the dotted line, he remembers a story about James forcing his co-founder Ogden to sign away his company shares. Not wanting to be a jerk like James, Wade rips up the contract. Turns out, that was the real final test. The whole castle melts away. revealing James's childhood bedroom and a much less creepy version of Anorak. James hands Wade the golden egg and a heartfelt message about cherishing reality over virtual worlds, because apparently, even video game creators get tired of staring at screens all day. Before James disappears into the ether, he warns Wade not to become a virtual hermit like him. Suddenly, Nolan and his goons burst into Helen's van, where the rest of the gang is hiding. But when he sees the golden egg in Wade's hand, Nolan throws his hands up faster than a mime at a magic show. He and his sidekick Finale get hauled off to jail, which is way more exciting than anything that happens in the Oasis. Ogden, James's co-founder, shows up and congratulates Wade, but who cares about boring adults when there's kissing involved? Wade smooches Samantha, finally admitting his love for her, because apparently, even virtual reality can't replace real-life romance. Ogden then presents Wade with the real ownership papers for the Oasis, but on one condition: he has to share the prize with his friends. The movie ends with the gang walking out of the van, cheered on by a crowd, and Ogden, the creepy virtual librarian dude, revealing himself as the real curator and offering to stick around as a consultant. Oh, and the new owners decide to shut down the Oasis twice a week, forcing everyone to actually touch grass and socialize with real humans. Crazy, right?